I think I decided before I left primary school. I think I knew, right from then that's what I wanted to be. It's taken over my life. It's architecture has become my life.
Stuart always struck me as the epitome of the way Wellington does architecture. Initially you think he's sort of reserved and quiet and a bit softly spoken and that maybe nothing much is going on, but actually it's completely the opposite.
I think the first contact probably was that we lived in an architecturally designed house, designed by Maurice Patience, Wellington architect. I don't know, that probably filtered through to my sensibility.
He was influenced most by our trips to Norway. Not just the beauty, the aesthetic of the way their landscapes and buildings and their cities look, but their whole environmental and sort of social thinking about how they live their lives.
Some of his houses and batches are just extraordinary in their kind of simplicity and directness. What you see is absolutely what you get. It's right there.
I really like the little cabin he did for Ray LeBone, and I love the way the house is very modest and honest, and it just sits beautifully into its grassy slope. He does want people to really enjoy living in the spaces he creates.
He was on a bit of a pedestal in Wellington architectural circles. He'd started work with Structon Group and he had been made a partner in 1987. He was given a lot of responsibility for someone so young. He also has this amazing passion, which I share, for the arts. This passion and this combination of being a very sort of formidable architect made him perfect for the City Art Gallery.
I used to walk across the square and I'd see it and my heart would swell with pride. I thought, they're building so beautiful. I love it. I love that building, yeah.
It was an out of the blue sort of approach, one of those lucky breaks really, because it has been an extremely important project from a practice perspective, but I think also from an aesthetic perspective in terms of understanding what architecture means to me.
It wasn't easy. There was some intense politics for me to get a design architect on board, but I felt Stuart had a freshness, an integrity. His work wasn't formulaic, it wasn't ego-driven.
I think the fundamental aspect or theme that I brought to the project was that relationship between contemporary and the heritage of the existing building.
Oh, it was amazing. He was very sensitive about the history of the building. He realised that Wellingtonians had a strong relationship with the building and he wasn't going to change that. Without doubt, it's the best gallery in the country. It is. It is.
After that, I felt I just sort of needed to grow as an architect. I needed to set up my own practice. I started to work with Michael Bennett, who most of the best work of our practice is work which Michael has been involved with.
I think in his commercial work, the building that strikes me most recently is Spark Central. And I say that because I think it's extraordinary what it does to complete Chews Lane, even though it's on the other side of the street.
With the folding planes of glass facade and beautiful soft screens on the side, it really relates to the environment of Willis Street.
Whare had a even longer gestation. That would have been 10 years, pretty much from the commission date 2001 through to the opening day, which was Waitangi Day 2011.
The Whare building is it had huge challenges. It has no front and no back. And so to place a building down in that area that can deal with issues for wharenui, which are really about front, as a building form, they're only about front. And yet it has to do other things. It has to house canoes. It has to allow for engagement with the city on all sides. And in that sense, I think it's extraordinary.
The whare is not really like a building. Even though it is a building, it sits there in a very landscape type of way.
The tangata whenua way of understanding the building is about the building representing the people, the community, the tribe, the iwi, and the ancestors. Like this house here, in a way, is more than just our house. Somehow it's my personality as well as Janie's personality and our children's personality. It represents us.
I've always found Stuart to be quite perspicacious, quite astute, very, very thoughtful. And you see that come out in his work. His work isn't always understated, but there's always something more going on than what you see. And I'm pretty impressed by that.
Architecture is very much a team sport. It's whilst I'm not sure which position I play, whether I'm sort of spin bowler or whether I'm sort of the second 5'8", I don't really know what my position is, but fundamentally you are part of a team.
Oh, there was just never any question that I wouldn't work with Stuart again. And in fact, we'd won a lot of awards first time. We worked incredibly well together.
Came to a really nice, tight, close sort of arm-in-arm sort of relationship of a very, new piece of building and which is very abstract from an aesthetic perspective, and an old building which has got a lot of richness and crustiness of a different era.
When I first worked with him, I saw he was an up-and-coming, very talented architect. He left Structon to work on the gallery, and I just intuitively knew that he was the right person, and I'm really thrilled he's gone from strength to strength.
I've always found Stuart to be an extraordinarily generous person and very open, particularly in relation to other architects, other architecture, and his commitment to the city, to Wellington, is extraordinary. I think the City Gallery is a great example of him giving his architecture away, in a way, to the people of Wellington.